Hello everyone. My name is Andrei. I'm the head of customer support department in a company called PayBis. We're a digital and cryptocurrency exchange. We're exchanging fiat money into cryptocurrency and vice versa. And today I'd like to speak about blockchain and how it can be used in different industries and talk about cryptocurrencies as well. So let's start with the most basic but the most important question. What is blockchain? A typical answer would be that blockchain is a digital ledger that is used to record all data, and that data is linked or chained to each other. A Bitcoin blockchain, for instance, is publicly available, it is decentralized, and it is used to store all transactions data in chronological order. But the concept of blockchain itself is not new. A very good example and a very prominent example of an analogy that is similar to blockchain is a Yap nation that used to live in South Pacific region, and they used rice stones as a means of exchange. So instead of currency, as we know, they used stones which are round-shaped stones, as you see here. And they were used as a means of paying for goods or services. But some stones were very huge. They were 4,000 kilograms, and it was very hard to carry a stone from one place to another. So what they did, they came up with an idea that they could change the way they are transacting. The initial idea of the community of Yap Nation was that instead of carrying a stone from one house to another, they would use a book in which they will register all the transactions, and they will appoint a certain person that will keep track of everything happening with those transactions. It used to be working good, and it used to be working just as you can imagine. A person decides to transact with another one. They agree on a certain price, certain amount of stones will be delivered. They go to that person, to the bookkeeper, and they tell him that, okay, I'm Alice, he's Bob. We delivered this stone to him, and he's now entitled of this stone. It used to be working good, except people started to realize there are some problems. First of all, since the bookkeeper was a person, he needed to be paid for the service he's doing. Also, because he was a person, he was not always available. He could be sick, he could be celebrating some birthdays, he could be absent due to all sorts of other reasons, so that was one of the problems as well. Also, because he's a person, he could be corrupted or he could be threatened, and he could entitle a stone to a different person by the means of power or any other reason. And because he was just one single person, the bookkeeper, he centralized the power, and sort of he was the highest authority in their nation. So the community decided that perhaps this is not the best way of how we could fix or record transactions. The next idea was to decentralize the entire process, and it used to work in this sense. So instead of having a certain person appointed to record all the transactions, the community decided that each house and each family in that nation will have their own copy of the book, and as soon as a transaction is happening, they will register it in their own book. The principle is the following. If Alice and Bob decided to transact, they would have to announce it to the entire community that the stone that they are transacting with now belongs to another person. Every person checks their register, their ledger, and they confirm that the transaction is indeed valid, and transaction then takes place. So that is exactly the concept of blockchain. It is decentralized, it is publicly available, and everyone in the community can verify a transaction. So instead of transacting as we know it today, instead of sending funds to a bank, instead of trusting your funds to some other entity, you're actually sending information to another person directly, and the entire community sees what's happening, and they can verify your transaction. In today's financial world, as you know, A bank holds funds, a bank transfers them. They basically can decide to limit your account or do whatever they wish because they are the authority, they have the power. But in a decentralized blockchain, like the one of Bitcoin, transactions are not being verified by a certain authority, but by the entire community with the help of miners. Basically, Bitcoin miners are the ones who are helping to validate transactions. So as soon as Bob and Alice decide that they transferred this certain amount of Bitcoins to a different party, they are sending this information into blockchain. Then transactions are put into a block, and Bitcoin miners, with the use of special software, are kind of working with that block, and they're validating those transactions. So what is interesting in blockchain in general? Interesting things are Bitcoin is open and publicly available at any point of time and for everyone. The information that stays in blockchain is there forever. It cannot be changed. You do not have to ask certain person or an organization for permission to use it. You do not have to be present in a certain country because it's borderless. It doesn't check your race, religion, beliefs, or intents. You can be whoever you want to be, and you can use blockchain. It is decentralized, and therefore it's not subject to any censorship. Because there are many people who realize that Bitcoin and blockchain in general can bring a lot of benefits, there are a lot of cryptocurrencies that are appearing every now and then. And if you check the market, the crypto market in 2015 and compare it with today, you can see that the market capitalization of top 10 currencies has increased dramatically over these 3 years. And the prices have increased also substantially. As you can see, the price developments are somewhere up in thousands of times. So why is it so? And if you decide that it is a good time for you to buy cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or any other, then perhaps you would need to know the following information. In order to get your first Bitcoins, before you enter the market, the Bitcoin market itself, you have to find an exchange platform like our own, PayBis.com for instance, and you will need to sign up there. You'll need to verify your account. And as soon as your account is verified, you will be able to make a payment. You'll have to specify your Bitcoin wallet address where you want to receive those Bitcoins. And once your payment is confirmed, you will get your cryptocurrency straight away. But there are different means of storing cryptocurrencies. A common perception is that you are buying something. For instance, you go to an exchange, you create an account, and you buy your Bitcoins straight away in there. But it is important to understand that if you create an account on an exchange that also provides a Bitcoin wallet, the Bitcoins stored on that exchange do not belong to you. It still belongs to the exchange that provides that wallet. If the exchange gets shut down, your funds will disappear together with the exchange. There are no deposit guarantees, so perhaps this is not the safest way. The safer way would be to create an online wallet like Blockchain Info, Electrum, or any other online wallet that you know of. You'll have to go to a website, create an account, then you'll have a certain code that will represent your Bitcoin wallet address. And once you decide to purchase cryptocurrencies, you'll have to specify that you want to receive your funds in that particular wallet. It will be easier. It will be easier in that sense, safer as well, that having a wallet in an exchange. But you should also understand that if a hacker gets your password and your private information, you can basically lose all your funds if you store them only online. There are ways of storing your funds physically. And one of them is creating a paper wallet. So you can basically print your access keys on a piece of paper and then carry it in your wallet or store under your pillow or whatever you wish to do with it. And perhaps the most secure way is to get a hardware wallet, which is a USB type-like device. You can plug it into your computer, transfer all the funds to your device, and then unplug it and carry it with you. You can deposit it into a safe, or you can basically store it offline. You will not have the Bitcoin offline in the sense you will not be able to take a Bitcoin out of your pocket, but you will be able to store it offline, and no hackers will be able to access your funds. Okay, so now you know that you can buy Bitcoins, and now you know how to store them, but how can you use your Bitcoins? One common answer you'll hear from Bitcoin opposers and cryptocurrency haters is that Bitcoins is mainly used in darknet and all illegal stuff, which is to some extent correct, because it is proven that Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies, a fraction of them is used illegally. But the idea behind the technology is not to be used illegally. Let's look at an analogy. So what you see here is an airplane. An airplane was developed with a purpose to carry people from one place to another with relatively short time, with great comfort, and with very limited effort. So it was developed with a very good intent, and it is being used mostly for very good reasons. But what you see on the second picture is a misuse of a great technology. You all remember the events that took place on 9/11, or you can have any other examples when airplanes were being used to harm societies, to bring damage. But it does not mean that this particular technology was developed for a bad use. And that is exactly the message I'm trying to deliver about Bitcoins. Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies are being developed with an intent to facilitate and to make easier the transactions that we know them today. They were developed to eliminate all the complications of today's transactions. You don't have to pay high fees, you don't have strict limits, and you don't have to wait for a certain entity to confirm your transaction. So that is why Bitcoins were created, that is why it exists, and that was the purpose behind. So what else can you use your Bitcoins for in legal ways? One of the most frequently used ways is to obtain other currencies that are less known and less developed. In a sense, they're less marketed towards societies. If you want to purchase altcoins, you will not probably be able to exchange your fiat money to alternative coins immediately. You will first have to get your Bitcoins and then transfer them to an exchange, and then do the exchange from Bitcoins to alternative coins. Also, Bitcoins are very popular among IT guys and gamers. So there are very many services and big names like G2A, Steam, and other names that are using Bitcoin as a payment method. By the way, you can also use your Bitcoins to pay for goods and services today in your daily routine. Like you can pay for your lunch, even here in Riga. You can purchase your plane ticket, or you can go and have drinks and pay with your Bitcoins, Litecoins, or any cryptocurrencies. You can also invest in your education. There are a lot of universities across many countries, including USA, UK, and others, that accept tuition fees in cryptocurrencies. And of course, you can use your crypto funds to charity events as well. A good example of charity activities with cryptocurrencies are Paxful, which is an Estonian company that has pledged to build 100 schools in Africa by only using Bitcoins. And that is a great example that Bitcoins can not only be used in illegal stuff, but they can also be used in charity and in everyday use as well. And there are, in fact, many reasons why a company decides to accept cryptocurrencies as a payment method. First of all, if you are an international company, it will make sense to accept cryptocurrencies because you will not have to pay the exchange fee from one currency to another if you make your price in Bitcoin, you receive the payment in Bitcoin from whatever country. It doesn't require you to be in a certain area. Also, there is no way to charge back a Bitcoin transaction. If you make a transaction, it is irreversible, and you do not have to develop anti-fraud tools. Also, it's easy to set up a Bitcoin account. You do not have to go through legal departments, through paperwork. It's very easy. Also, if you increase the range of payment options for your customers, perhaps you will attract more customers and you will generate publicity. And especially for cross-border companies, it's very convenient to accept cryptocurrency payments. But it's important to know that blockchain is not only for cryptocurrencies. There are many other industries that could benefit, and there are already benefiting from the use of blockchain. Healthcare, government services, financial services, and supply chain management as well. In healthcare, for instance, you could store electronic medical records on blockchain, or you could create a digital health wallet which will not only store your medical records, but will also allow to identify a client and then make a payment directly from that wallet as well. And you could also use blockchain to automate the process of insurance claims immediately. In government industries or governance services, you could use blockchain to document title changes. You could use blockchain to register weddings or divorces. You could also use blockchain in voting. Remember that blockchain is publicly available. It is permanent, meaning it cannot be changed, and it can be accessed by anyone in any point of time. So if you want a transparent voting system, perhaps you should take a look at blockchain. And you could also use blockchain in refugee registry because of the same reasons. You cannot change that information. It stays there forever. In financial services, as you know, you can use blockchain to speed up transactions. You can use blockchain to lower fees. You can use it in online identity verification, in crowdfunding, and in loyalty schemes as well. When it comes to supply chain management, blockchain can be and is already a good solution to the current logistics industry, as you know. It could be used to prove provenance of a product. It could be used to track a certain product, to check its real-time position. It could be used to check product certification. And also you could link the good to its serial number. You can basically do all sorts of stuff that will eliminate the paperwork as you know it today in supply chain management. In fact, IBM and Maersk are already using blockchain today. They have developed a project, and here is how they're trying to use blockchain in supply chain management to facilitate and to make their entire processes faster. Can we run the video?
Global trade functions much as it has since the introduction of the shipping container in 1956. Manual, paper-based processes are still common, and information about the status of goods is locked away in organizational silos. Today, 90% of goods in global trade are carried by the shipping industry, with the supply chain slowed by the complexity and sheer volume of point-to-point communication across a loosely coupled web of land transportation providers, freight forwarders, customs brokers, governments, ports, and ocean carriers. IBM and Maersk are addressing this problem with a distributed, permission platform accessible by the supply chain ecosystem designed to exchange event data and handle document workflows. Maersk and IBM are employing blockchain technology to create a global, tamper-proof system for digitizing trade workflow and tracking shipments end-to-end, eliminating frictions including costly point-to-point communications. The collaboration will launch with the potential ability to track millions of container journeys per year and integrate with customs authorities on selected trade lanes. In a recent test by Maersk, shipping a single container of flowers from Kenya to the port of Rotterdam resulted in a stack of nearly 200 communications. Using this example, we will examine how blockchain has been implemented to create trust and security in the digitized document workflow and improve the efficiency of global supply chains. Here we can see each distinct entity involved in the transaction: the growers, export authorities, ports, customs, and importers. Shipping from the port of Mombasa requires signatures from 3 different agencies approving the export and 6 documents that describe the origin, chemical treatments, quality of the produce, and customs duties. Firstly, using a PC or mobile device, the Kenyan farm submits a packing list that becomes visible to all participants. This action initiates a smart contract that enforces an export approval workflow between the 3 agencies. As each agency signs, the status is updated for all to see. Simultaneously, information about the inspection of the flowers, the sealing of the refrigerated container, the pickup by the trucker, and the approval from customs is communicated to the port of Mombasa, allowing them to prepare for the container. All actions relating to the documents and the physical goods are captured and shared: which documents were submitted, when and by whom, where the flowers are and who is in possession of them, and the next steps in their journey. Flowers are perishable, so it's crucial that there are no delays or missteps. Blockchain provides secure data exchange and a tamper-proof repository for these documents and shipping events. This system could significantly reduce delays and fraud, saving billions of dollars annually. And according to the WTO, reducing barriers within the international supply chain could increase worldwide GDP by almost 5% and total trade volume by 15%. For more information on how IBM can help make blockchain right for your business, please visit ibm.com/blockchain.
Yeah. So as you can see, the technology is already being developed to facilitate certain processes, to eliminate humans being involved into processes that could be automated, verified, and basically be errorless. That will be about it from me for today. And if you have any questions, I'm open for them.
Well, thank you, Andrei. My open remark on that: the first time I really, to the core, understand the system, how it works. So it was wonderful.
I'm glad you understood it. I'm glad, and I hope everyone else understood as well.
Well, definitely, because I'm not the smartest chip in the block, so it's absolutely good. And the question is about technologies behind the same Bitcoin, for instance, and the currency, about tracking down the payment. Because logically, if there's a darknet issue, if there's a legal issue, I believe in the nature of any institutions is to develop technology to track the payment somehow down. Is this possible? What's the ways how to get it down?
I see where you're going, and one key mistake of, I think, the governments mainly is that they do not understand the technology, especially in Bitcoin. It is not anonymous, it's pseudo-anonymous. So basically, if you know who this address belongs to, you can track down all of its transactions. You can see when they took place because they're irreversible and they cannot be changed. And blockchain is there available for everyone. In darknet, for instance, when 2 persons are transacting, everything is still publicly available. So institutions, government institutions, have to know it. They have to develop ways of how to put it, to understand that this technology is not completely anonymous. So you have to dig into it. If you find a certain wallet, if you know who it belongs to, then you can basically know what the person did, who he transacted with, and how much he exchanged.
So linking together, in fact, your ID number, if we call it like that, your ID number with the particular face.
Exactly.
And that's totally different business, I believe. Other means how to find and put them together. No need to dig in the blockchain and the Bitcoin, in fact, but develop the slay and the layer how to bind together the real face with the ID number. Am I correct?
That's another thing. Of course, it is harder, but if you know initially, if you know who the person is and that this wallet belongs to him, then it will be easy. But in order to link a person to a wallet, That's a harder question, yeah, I guess. But still, since this is publicly available, you could perhaps check how much you can dig into it, and you can develop ways of finding out.
And then my question is, once in the small group of friends, we were making jokes about that I'm going with my Bitcoin to Rimi,
Yeah.
the supermarket chain, and in that time the Bitcoin, for instance, is falling down in this weekend,
Yes.
the price of the value. And while I'm driving to the cash box,
Yeah.
my price of wallet is falling down or rising. What about that? Is this mythology, or what about the value behind the currency online on this particular moment?
Yeah, you are right. There are a lot of fluctuations, and they're happening even right now as we speak. Perhaps this is an exaggeration, but it can happen. In worst case scenarios, it can happen that price can go down so much or can go up so much. But typically, as an entity that accepts Bitcoin payments, you would do the following. You would allow a certain time frame that will fix the price. Like if we two are transacting, I'm the entity accepting payment. The moment when you send your Bitcoins to me, and I know that you are sending them to me, we have, let's say, 15 minutes that I log this certain price for you.
Okay.
And as soon as I accept your Bitcoins, that price doesn't change.
Okay.
But within a certain range, let's say.
There's a frame for 15 minutes, for instance.
That's mostly how companies work. Because, yeah, it would be impossible to hit the right amount if you allow the price to be changed every second.
If we look in the future, and that's my final question to you,
Yeah.
the system is, well, growing up. It's built up. What about its fastness? Because to recheck
Yeah.
and check and check and check, the list is becoming longer and longer. So what about this issue, the functionality and fastness, speed of the system when it grows old?
The scalability, you mean, yeah. So certainly, like if you remember December, there were news that actually Bitcoin was very hyped in December. A lot of new users joined in, and the network was very overloaded, and transactions were slow and fees were high. But there is a solution to that. So the initial protocol was developed in such a way that it could be increased. Like there is a thing called Lightning Network, which will allow two parties, for instance me and you, to create an off-chain channel, and we will be able to transfer Bitcoins within seconds to each other without fees, and they will not appear on blockchain unless we cancel this channel.
Okay.
So as long as we two transact with each other, it will stay off-chain.
Yeah.
But when we decide to cancel our agreement, or let's say finish the transaction,
then
it will appear on blockchain, and it will be queued with all the other transactions. So at the moment it is being developed, it's not yet in use, but there are ways of solving the problem of scalability and of slowness.
Which is like an extremely clever sub-trust system, because within one family, for instance, we are exchanging them, trusting each other, and only when we go outside, we are putting
If
that
you
in the
take your
public
money
trust.
outside, then you'll have to show it on blockchain like everyone else, because it's publicly available. So that's how that's the solution, one of them. There are a few other solutions, but that's the best one, I think, and that's the one that's being developed already.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Extremely great. Thank you. Applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And the clicker comes.